Sonoma is at the heart of Northern California's winemaking region and is one of the country's top tourist destinations. Today, the serenity of the area's gentle rolling hills will be broken by the sound of horsepower as the ARCA Menards Series West kicks off a stock car racing triple header. Who will be the first to conquer the lefts and the rights here at Sonoma Raceway? We'll find out next, live here on Flow Racing. Hi there, everybody. My name is Charlie Krall. Welcome to the General Tire 200, round 5 of the 2022 season for the ARCA Menards Series West, our second consecutive race on a road course. Last weekend, we fought Mother Nature all day long up in the Pacific Northwest as Jake Drew beat the field and beat the rain to score his first career series victory. Jake's going to start up front today, but Mother Nature has issued us a little bit of a different challenge today. The heat, it's expected to be upwards of 90, maybe 95 degrees here today, and that heat could take its toll not only on the drivers in the cockpit, but the crews down on pit road and the race cars themselves. We'll keep a close eye on that throughout the course of the 64 laps we run here today. See the field moving from the grid out onto the racetrack. We'll have the first of 2 pace laps here coming up here momentarily as we get set for the second of 3 road course events on the West Series schedule coming up here in 2022. A lot of activity here at Sonoma Raceway already. We had practice and qualifying for the West Series yesterday. The NASCAR Cape World Truck Series in action just a little bit ago. Of course, Carson Hocevar picking up the pole, but a little twist there. He's going to have to drop to the back, going to a backup truck after damaging that primary truck in qualifying. So a little excitement. That race will come up after the conclusion of this one. And of course, the Cup Series race coming up here tomorrow afternoon as well. So a lot of activity here at Sonoma Raceway as we get set for a very busy couple of days of activity. Field now rolling for the first of its 2 pace laps. Let's take a look at the race analysis for the General Tire 200 here at Sonoma Raceway. It's the 43rd time the West Series has raced here at Sonoma. And today we'll be using the 1.9 mile short course. Last year the track layout included that long sweeping carousel corner, but this season the teams will use what we call the chute, bypassing the carousel, going straight from turn 4 to turn 7. We're going to go 64 laps here today, which translates to 127.3 miles, 200 kilometers. We'll have a competition caution coming up at lap 32. Teams can add fuel and make any adjustments they need. They will have 4 tires in the pit box, but those 4 tires are for emergency use only. No tire changes today. Any tire changes must be for a tire that has been damaged or is flat, and that must be approved by ARCA officials down on pit road. Look at field race cars now out on the racetrack following Toyota Supra pace car. This is the area I was just telling you about, folks. This is that shortcut between turns 4 and 7. No, excuse me, that's coming out off of the hairpin right there. This is start-finish line. That's turn 1 right there. Gotta get my bearings here, folks, but this will send us uphill, steeply uphill. Turns 2, 3, 4, and 4A. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at our Bounty Rookie Spotlight driver as the field makes another pace lap here. We're going to put that Bounty Spotlight on 16-year-old Landon Lewis, driving the number 17 car for team owners Bruce Cook and Steve McGowan. Landon has already scored a win this season, winning at Kern County Raceway Park back in April, while he's making his road course debut in these big, heavy, full-bodied stock cars. He's got a ton of road course experience in Legends cars, and he's put it to good use today by qualifying up on the front row. Take a look at Austin Herzog there in the 16 car. Austin will be starting in the top 5 here today. We go ahead and take a look at our General Tire Pole Award winner. Happens to be the guy that picked up his first career series win last Saturday at Portland, Jake Drew. Jake timed in 1 minute 20.397 seconds, which translates to 89.108 miles per hour. He beat fellow front row starter Landon Lewis, our Bounty Rookie Spotlight driver, by 3/4 of a second. Not too shabby for his first pole of the season. Jake will lead the field to our General Tire starting grid here at Sonoma. He will start alongside Landon Lewis up on the front row. How about that qualifying run for Dale Quarterly back in third? He will share the second row with another veteran, Todd Souza, in the number 13 car, making his 102nd career series start. Austin Herzog and Irwindale winner Tanner Reif back in row 3. Jack Wood, PJ Pedroncelli in row 4. Eric Nascimento, Joey East round out the top 10. We're going to keep an eye on that 6th row. A couple of Truck Series regulars, Colby Howard and Dean Thompson, back there as well. Cole Moore starting way deep in the field today in 16th. Bridget Burgess, she finished 7th last week. She's going to start 18th here today. Field now coming through the final set of corners. Coming to green, folks. A very competitive field, 24 cars lined up, and it is time to rock, roll, and rumble here in Sonoma. Coming to green, Jake Drew leading the field to the green flag alongside Landon Lewis, and we're underway here at Sonoma. Field racing up the hill for the first time. Turns 1, 2, and 3 in quick succession. Trying to get down into single file order. We do see a little battle there between those two veterans. Dale Quarterly and Todd Souza going at it. Quarterly going to take over that second position in that number 32 car. As we head into the chute, this is that area. Bypassing turns 5 and 6. We're going to go from turns 4 to 7. Right through here, one of the quickest sections of the race course. Now into turn 7 right here. Expect to see a lot of action here throughout the day as we see Dean Thompson sticking the nose inside of Joey East. Now down through the S's. The winding section on the backside of the racetrack. Very high speed corners. Very technical part of the racetrack here as Dean tries to stretch that advantage over Joey East. Now we're going to come down into the hairpin. Here comes Todd Souza looking to make a move on Dale Quarterly to take over that third position. Austin Herzog almost filling that gap in as well. Come to complete lap 1. Jake Drew with the advantage. As he does come across to complete the first of 64 laps, 63 to go. We're in the very early going at Sonoma Raceway. There's that advantage over Landon Lewis in second. Todd Souza had a great run here last year. He's in that third position. Here's a good battle for position. Bridget Burgess working her way up through the field. She's to the inside of Jack Wood. And Spurgeon in the mix there as well in the number 86 car. Bridget kicking it sideways a little bit. Don't want to abuse those tires in the early going. Again, no scheduled tire changes here. You got to make them last all 64 laps. Here's some action going in to that 7th corner. Teammates. Sebastian Arias going at it with the car owner there. Eric Nascimento in the 04 car. Eric had a great run at Portland International Raceway last year. Kind of fought Mother Nature last weekend. Didn't get the finish he was looking for, but hopes to bring some of that road course experience to the forefront here today. Sebastian kicking the left side tires off into the dirt there a little bit. Don't want to do that too often. And we talked about qualifying for the Camping World Truck Series. That's what caught Carson Hocevar out earlier this afternoon. And that's going to send him to the back of the field. The DoorDash 250 coming up here once we conclude this race, the General Tire 200 here later on this afternoon. Good look at our leader and our General Tire Pole Award winner, Jake Drew, kind of starting to stretch that advantage a little bit. He had 3/4 of a second in hand on Landon Lewis in qualifying earlier today. Jake has got a lot of road course experience, a lot of knowledge of this particular racetrack as well, and he's using it to his advantage right now. He's built up a comfortable lead now over Landon Lewis in second. Field now streaming by the speed shot there, down in the chute. It's a good look at Landon Lewis in front of Todd Souza. And there's the old veteran, Dale Quarterly, longtime campaigner in the Northeast. Ran both the old, what is now the ARCA Menards Series East. He was a competitor in that series when it was the old Busch North Series. You see Paul Pedroncelli take his car down onto pit road. Dale picked up a road course win in the Whalen Modified Tour several years back at Lime Rock Park up in Connecticut. A lot of road course experience back in his motorcycle days as well, so no surprise to see Dale running up near the front here as we work lap 4 here at Sonoma Raceway. There's the advantage. Jake Drew walking the dog on the field here in the early going. Driving one of the 2 Sunrise Racing Team entries, fielded by longtime team owners Bob and Maureen Brancati. There's the other right there, Tanner Reif in the number 9 car, now making his way into turn 7. Action towards the back of the field. Ryan Philpott there in the 52 car. Ryan making his first start of the season. As the field winds its way down the hill through the S's. Rod Nealon there in the 68 car as well. Of course, Rod normally working on the crew for the Pedroncelli family, and of course they're all centered right here in Sonoma. Rod Nealon and Paul Pedroncelli, members of the fire department here in Sonoma, California. Rod making one of his rare appearances behind the wheel. Good to have him with us. It's the battle at the back of the top 20. Battle for 18th and 19th on the racetrack, and now the battle for 3rd. There's Todd Souza in the 13 car. Every time we go road course racing here in the West Series, I'd like to talk about Todd Souza. He's got a lot of experience out here. We talked about him making his 102nd career series start. Oh, we see Andrew Tuttle getting turned sideways, coming off at turn 12. Andrew was back in the 22nd position. Got that car righted and turned back around. Little damage to the left front corner of that car already. So Andrew, he fought some handling issues last week. You see some damage to the nose of that car. It looks like he may have been off the racetrack a time or 2 already today. He fought the handling. Let's see if we got a replay of this one. Coming through turn 12, and look at that. He got on the gas and the rear end just snapped around on him. Nobody else around him, so Andrew able to get that car turned around and rejoining the action, but it looks like based on the damage to the nose of that car, he may have been off track a time or 2 already. To jump back up to the front of the field, there's Jake Drew continuing to stretch out the advantage. There's Landon Lewis back in 2nd. That advantage getting longer and longer by the lap. Now 3 seconds in hand over Landon Lewis in 2nd. Todd Souza, Dale Quarterly, and Austin Herzog rounding out the top 5. Jack Wood trying to pull a move on PJ Pedroncelli. Gonna make it stick down there going into turn 5 right there. Dean Thompson going to follow through. PJ Pedroncelli going to give up a couple of positions. Going to drop back to the 10th position as Jack Wood moving up into 8th. Dean Thompson following through into 9th. Both of these drivers, Jack Wood and Dean Thompson, here doing a little recon mission. They're both going to compete in that Camping World Truck Series race coming up later on this afternoon. Some extra laps on the racetrack. Here comes Cole Moore in the 99 car. He's knocking on that door, trying to break his way into the top 10. Cole qualified, uncharacteristically qualified well back in the field today. Started 16th. Now after just 7 laps, he is going to pass PJ Pedroncelli and move up into the top 5 for the first time, or the top 10 for the first time here today. Still has a little bit of work to do if he'd like to race his way up into the top 5, but good start, good opening segment here for Cole Moore in that 99 car as he's going to jump up into the top 10. Dean Thompson going to work his way past Jack Wood as well. A lot of action up into the top 10 here in the early going at Sonoma. Charge off of the final corner. Landon Lewis trying to stay in contact with him. Landon's going to have his hands full here as Todd Souza is making up some ground in that 13 car. There's the gap between the top 2. Bill Quarterly losing contact a little bit in that 4th position. Austin Herzog zipping by in 5th. Tanner Reif. Menards got Sebastian Arias in tow as the top 7 work their way up the hill. First time we've seen some lap traffic. Of course, Andrew Tuttle, we talked about him a few moments ago, getting in trouble off of the hairpin. He's going to move out of the way and let the leaders move to his inside. And Sebastian Arias looking racy in that number 4 car, putting some pressure on Tanner Reif. Tanner in the 2nd of the Sunrise Racing cars, that very distinct blue and orange paint scheme. Tanner picking up his first career victory in just his 2nd career series start down at Urbandale Speedway back in the month of March. Good look at Sebastian Arias in the number 4. How about that? Todd Souza working his way past Landon Lewis. Moved Todd Souza up to 2nd. Just talking about him a few moments ago. Every time we go road course racing, we got to keep Todd Souza in the mix. Todd picked up his first and so far only West Series victory on the road course at Utah Motorsports Campus back in 2008. One of the strongest road course racers out here on the West Coast. Ran very well in this race last year. Was in the mix in the top 5 all race long. Banged some fenders on the final restart and gave up a couple of positions. Then, of course, that action happened in the segment of the racetrack that we're not using today. So Todd's got a lot of confidence coming up into this one today. He's able to better that 5th place finish he had here last year. Nick Janitis in the 77 car off the pace. Nick's had a pretty frustrating weekend to this point. Well off the pace in qualifying. Had a lot of optimism coming into this one. Well off the pace in qualifying, and now that number 77 car rolling to a stop. There you see it right there on the drag strip, serving as the pit road for ARCA Menards Series West teams here today. Let's see if Todd Souza is able to chew into that advantage that Jake Drew has built. He has cut down the advantage. It was 3 seconds at one point. Last time by the start finish line, now 2.2 seconds. So Todd Souza on the charge in the number 13 car. Battle back the tail end of the top 10 as we start to work through some of the lap traffic. Andrew Tuttle continuing to fall back through the field as the caution will come out for the first time here this afternoon. I I believe that's going to be for the 77 car. Nick Janitis down on pit road. While he is down on pit road, that car may not be in the safest position. We're going to put the caution flag out, send the safety crew to go and retrieve him, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Bring him down to Joe Nava and the team. Joe, a long-time team owner here out on the West Coast. Not the day the 77 bunch was looking for here this afternoon, as Jimmy Walker puts the caution flag out for the first time here this afternoon. Field streaming by. Chuck Welch back out on the racetrack in that wonderful Toyota Super Pace car. That looks like it'd be a lot of fun to drive that thing around here at Sonoma Raceway. As the field now bunching up behind him. First caution flag of the day here at Sonoma. Talk about this area being one of the top tourist destinations in the country. A couple of our drivers participating today did some touristy things over the course of the last couple of days. Many of these teams and drivers staying out here on the West Coast, staying in this region. They weren't too far up the road at Portland, Oregon, last Saturday. It's not that far of a drive to make it back down here to Sonoma in Northern California. So a lot of the teams and drivers sticking around out here. And we saw one of them, Bridget Burgess, actually went out and visited Alcatraz down in the San Francisco Bay a couple of days ago. That looked like it was a lot of fun. Thankfully, Bridget didn't get caught in one of those old cells in the prison there. She was able to make it back in time, as Jake Drew following behind the pace car. Andrew Tuttle, that's a good break for him. He's going to get the free pass. He'll get to make up the lap that he lost after that spin. Once he gets the go ahead to blaze around the pace car there, so Andrew will get the chance to come around and rejoin the tail end of the lead lap. Section of the racetrack here, turn 12, one of the more challenging and demanding areas of the racetrack. See a lot of action. I expect we'll see a lot of action here late in the race, especially if that battle for the lead is anywhere near close. I do believe we will see maybe some contact in that section of the racetrack. Wouldn't be the first time, that's for sure. Actually, the hairpin turn 11 here at Sonoma. I always get my turns caught up here. It always seems to me like it's the final corner. It's actually not. It's turn 11 on the 12 turn layout here. That little jog back to the left right before we get to the start finish line, actually turn 11 or turn 12. So I'll make sure to make that mental note as we go along here throughout the rest of the day. It's turn 3 and 3A right here. Down to turn 4A. This is the chute that we talked about at the top of the show. This is going to shortcut from turn 4 over to turn 7. Wind our way back through the S's. Turns 8, 8A, turn 9, turn 10. Seen a lot of action in this area of the racetrack over the years. We'll see some more as we go on deeper into the day here as well. better passing zones here at Sonoma Raceway. Big weekend of action out here on the West Coast. West Race kicking off a triple header. We've got the NASCAR and Camping World trucks in action for the first time since 1998. Good to have them back here at Sonoma. Of course, the NASCAR Cup Series in action as well. That coming up tomorrow. Watch both of those races on Fox Sports. And of course, the ARCA Menards Series in action later on this evening, coming up live on MAV TV from Iowa Speedway. That one kicking off at 9 o'clock Eastern time. This looks like a lot of fun. There's a lot of things to do here at Sonoma Raceway. That Ferris wheel looks like a lot of fun. I wouldn't mind hopping up there and maybe stopping up at the top for a little while and checking out some of the action. That Ferris wheel located just outside the racetrack. Great looking crowd on hand as well. Good to see the next generation out here taking in all of the action. It seemed like too long ago that my kids were that age, following me around at the racetrack. As we continue to circulate under the caution flag. I did see they've got some donuts down there on the midway. That sounds kind of tasty at this point. Yeah, we have to make a donut run here in just a minute as we continue to work under the caution flag for the first time today. Let's see what Todd Souza's got on this restart. You know, we talk about the youth movement in the ARCA Menards Series platform quite a bit. You know, many of these drivers just 15, 16, 17 years of age. Interesting to see what the old veteran has for him here as we zone in on one of the drivers in that youth movement. There's Jake Drew. There's Todd Souza making his 102nd series start. Lights off on the pace car as they exit turn 7 and make their way down through the S's. We'll get the one-to-go signal there throughout the course of the day. And that'll indicate to the drivers it's time to file, double file. Line them up double file for the restart. Jake Drew, Todd Souza in row 1. Landon Lewis and Dale Quarterly back in row 2. Sebastian Arias with an extremely strong run in that 4 car. He will line up 5th alongside Austin Herzog as we get ready to come back to green. Sebastian out of Bogota, Colombia. One of our several international drivers in the field here today. Looking good here in the early going. Field picking up the pace into turn 11. Got it right that time. All right. Looking at the green flag this time around. And there you see the green flag back in the air. Jake Drew with the jump. Let's see that battle for second as we go back up the hill. Todd Souza to the outside there in turns 2 down into turns 3 and 3A as we see some contact there between Sebastian Arias and Austin Herzog. Todd Souza going to hold on to that second position. Cole Moore with a good run on this restart. He's going to jump up the field. Cole Moore up into the 6th position. Already picked up 10 spots from the start. Cole Moore with a great run here in the early going in the 99. Field now streaming through the S's. Takuma Koga with a good run in the 7 car. Takuma finished in the top 5. Last Saturday up at Portland, he started all the way back in the 19th position here today. So Takuma Koga with a great run going. He's all the way up into 12th. Now Todd Souza trying to knock on the back door there. Down into turn 11. Souza looking racy in that 13 car. Top 2 starting to stretch the advantage on Landon Lewis back in third. Let's keep an eye on this battle. Austin Herzog and Sebastian Arias, they traded some paint through this section last time through. Turn 2 right here, down to turns 3 and 3A. Sebastian Arias looking racy in that number 4 automobile for Nascimento Racing Team. Get awfully close to that outside wall there, coming out of turn 4A down past the speed shop. It's a battle for position between Austin Herzog and Sebastian Arias, calming down just a little bit. See some battle scars. There's a little damage to the right corner of the number 16 car and some corresponding damage to the left rear of that automobile, the number 4. This guy's getting a little racy on that restart. Todd Souza trying to close in on Jake Drew one more time. Looked like that car got a little sideways under braking right there. Todd really trying to close in and maybe perhaps outbrake Jake Drew into that corner. Going to tax these machines too heavily, too early here, as the caution flag going to come out one more time. Vince Little off track in the number 85 car, and it looks like he may have made some pretty significant contact with the tire barrier there, and that looks to me like that may be over in turn 10. Vince made his West Series debut last weekend up at Portland. Looking to have another pretty good solid run in that number 85 car, and it looks like the front end definitely knocked askew as he is slid off track and contacted the tire barrier. AMR safety crew already on site. That does indeed put us under the caution flag for the second time already, just 16 laps in here at Portland. Or excuse me, at Sonoma. Portland was last week. Safety crew there attending to Vince. And that number 85 car, looks like they're just going to be able to push him back. It did look like at least the left front suspension on that car may have been damaged. Well, looks like it's not. Looks like he's going to be able to get that push, get her turned around, and rejoin the tail of the field. Does look like he did indeed make some contact with the right side of the car, though. Vince Little getting a push. He will rejoin the tail end of the field. Likely will have to stop on down. A little attention from the crew there and pull that right rear quarter panel off that tire. Drew started P1 here this afternoon, and he's led every lap so far to this point. For his second consecutive victory after picking up his first career win last weekend up at Portland. Been a while since Todd Souza's made a trip to victory lane. He's looking pretty racy here today as well. Todd Souza can taste the lead. Let's see what happens on this restart. Got a little aggressive last time. Get up there and challenge. Dean Thompson working his way around. He may be the recipient of the free pass this time. Didn't know that Dean had fallen off the lead lap. Indeed, Dean Thompson will pick up the free pass and rejoin the tail end of the lead lap in that number 40. Lights still on the pace car, so we'll go at least one more lap around before we get back to full speed racing action here in the General Tire 200. Jake Drew leading over Todd Souza in second. Landon Lewis holding on to that third position. Dale Quarterly sitting back in fourth. Cole Moore, he has made the biggest move so far of the day. Cole up from 16th to 5th here in the early going. Austin Herzog back in 6th. Sebastian Arias, Joey East, Tanner Reif, and Takuma Koga round out your top 10. Some of our Truck Series visitors, Colby Howard, Jack Wood back in 11th and 12th. PJ Pedroncelli, we expected PJ to be a little closer to the front. He's back in 13th. Eric Nascimento 14th, and Tim Spurgeon rounding out the top 15. Ryan Philpott, Rod Nealand, Bridget Burgess, Andrew Tuttle, and now Dean Thompson rounding out our lead lap cars. And look, if it's 20 cars on the lead lap. We get back to green flag racing action, which should be coming up here momentarily. Lights out on the pace car. Doubling up as they make their way down the hill through the S's. Jake Drew once again alongside Todd Souza there on row 1. Landon Lewis, Dale Quarterly back in row 2. Bill McAnally Racing teammates Cole Moore, Austin Herzog back in row 3. Chuck Welch going to make the right-hand turn down into the infield as Jake Drew will lead the field back to green. Quick pace down there through the hairpin, now to turn 12. Field bunched up and ready to go as we come to complete lap 18. Don't forget, working our way to lap 32, where we will take another competition caution as the green flag back out. Field races back uphill. Todd Souza jumping out in front. First lead change of the day. Can he hold it? As the field stacking it up back there as they work through turn 2. But Todd Souza taking the lead here on lap 19. Talked about Souza looking pretty itchy back there in second, and now here comes Landon Lewis down to the inside of Jake Drew. Looks like that number 6 car bouncing a little bit there as they work their way through the turn 7 area. There could be an issue with the Jake Drew automobile, giving up a couple of positions on this restart. Car didn't look like it was handling just right through that tight turn 7 area. Now it looks like Jake back up to speed. See if he's able to work his way to the inside of Landon Lewis down into turn 11. And indeed, he's going to try to outbrake him. Jake Drew going to retake that second position into turn 12, but they're both losing ground to Todd Souza. Souza officially leads him across the stripe to complete lap 19. That pass right there that Todd Souza made to take the lead on the outside could be one of our contenders for that Reese's Sweet move of the race. onto the ARCA Twitter page tomorrow morning, starting at 9 a.m. at ARCA_racing. Cast your vote for that Reese's Sweet move. There's Jake Drew. He's going to work around to the outside as well. That could be another Reese's Sweet move candidate. Jake Drew not wanting to follow Todd Souza around. He's going to retake the lead. So whatever I was hypothesizing was wrong with the number 6 car, apparently just throw that right out the window. Nothing wrong with that number 6 car. And Jake Drew, with the power move, he will retake the lead as we come to complete lap 20. Souza trying to get in there and maybe push him up the racetrack a little bit. Nothing doing. Jake Drew with a power move there to retake the top spot. And here comes Cole Moore. Cole looking racy in that 99 car. Very uncharacteristic to see him starting outside the top 10. He was outside the top 15. Cole came to green earlier today in the 16th position, and he has worked his way well up through the field, now battling Dale Quarterly for the 4th position, but a great run here in the early going for Cole Moore. Our Bounty Rookie Spotlight driver holding on to that 3rd position. Got a freight train lined up behind him. Let's take a look at that pass for the lead. Oh, that's what happened. Looked like Todd Souza just cooked it in a little bit too tight. A little bit too hard there, and Jake Drew just drove underneath him. And that's where I saw it right there. I saw it looked like Jake was to the outside, but actually well to the inside. Todd Souza just overcooked it a bit going down into turn 7. Opening the door for Jake Drew, and now Todd, you can see maybe a little steam coming out from underneath that helmet. Todd pretty frustrated inside as we see some action down in turn 11. Sebastian Arias getting together with PJ Pedroncelli. Both of those cars getting turned around. We're going to stay green, but both of those drivers giving up a lot of track position. Todd Souza going to feel some heat from Landon Lewis here. Is that freight train lining up? Let's see if we can see what happened down here in the hairpin. Keep an eye on that side-by-side battle right there. Looks like a little wheel hop from the number 4 car. He got sideways. Nowhere to go, and into PJ Pedroncelli. PJ doing a good job keeping that car going, but he does indeed give up a couple of positions. But there's the battle scars on the number 4 car. That car already had some damage to that corner of the race car. Sebastian Arias giving up a lot of ground on the racetrack. He's having a great day, well up into the top 10. He's going to drop all the way outside the top 10. Maybe back outside the top 15, as he's got a lot of damage there to that number 4 car. Got Sebastian all the way back to 18th position after that spin. Now Jake Drew back in his rhythm. He's back up front. He gets to set the pace, control pace of the field. He's starting to stretch that advantage out now. 1.1 seconds over Todd Souza in 2nd. Souza's got his hands full. Landon Lewis looking racy. There's Dale Quarterly. He's got his hands full. Cole Moore in that 99 car with an impressive run from 16th starting position. Not trying to race his way up into the top 5. Landon Lewis trying to fade to the inside on Todd Souza there going into turn 7. Landon just 16 years of age, but what a job he has done as he's trying to transition into this big, heavy, full-bodied stock car racing. He picked up a win on the dirt in the ARCA Menards series at DuQuoin State Fairgrounds, a big mile dirt track. Picked up a win there last September. followed it with the win on the short track at Kern County Raceway Park, and now he's trying to retake that second position. Ooh, some contact there between he and Souza. Souza's going to drift up the track as we've got big time problems in the S's. Rod Nealon and Sebastian Arias getting together, and it looks like a lot of damage on both of those cars. That will put us under caution for the third time here today. Saw the hand moving out of the window of the 68 car. A lot of frustration from Rod Nealon there towards Sebastian Arias. Rod gonna climb out of that car. Safety crew now arriving on scene. Let's see if we got a look at what happened. This looks like it's going gonna come out of turn 7. Rod trying to make his way past Bridget Burgess. He and Bridget got together a little bit there. Bridget doing a little agricultural racing. Ooh, Bridget's gonna give it back to him. Sent him off course, and it looks like Sebastian Arias had nowhere to go. Now Rod Nealon expressing his displeasure with Sebastian Arias. So he's going to climb in the back of the safety truck. Looks like, let's see if we got another look at the replay here. It looks like he and Bridget Burgess were the ones. They knocked fenders going into turn 7. Bridget obviously going to express her displeasure right here, get into the back of the 68, turn him sideways, and the 4 car just had nowhere to go as they slide off the racetrack. And check this impact out, folks. That's a big time crash right there. I can understand Rod Nealon's frustration, but I don't understand the frustration with Sebastian Arias, because I believe Sebastian, wrong place, wrong time right there. He may believe that that is the driver that forced him off the racetrack, but Sebastian Arias looks like he may be the innocent victim of a little frustration between Bridget Burgess and Rod Nealon right there. But that does indeed put us under the caution flag for the third time here today. And you hate to see race cars getting torn up like that, but that is a tough break for both Rod Nealon and Sebastian. Sebastian had a good run going. He unfortunately had just a few laps prior to that got turned sideways. Let's see some more action here. Take a look at another replay. Same look as the 68 car getting shoved off the racetrack and bringing the 4 car along with. And that window net came right down. Rod was already fired up at that point. Of course, we talked about Rod and the Pedroncelli family based right here in Sonoma County. Rod and Paul Pedroncelli, members of the fire department out here. And you can just see that frustration with those gestures. Not at all happy with what happened down there. But as I said, don't quite understand the frustration with the 4 car with that incident. Can't obviously hear what Rod was saying right there, but body language alone, he's pretty fired up as we see Todd Souza coming to pit road. Todd going to give up the 2nd position, make his way down pit road. We see other cars going down the drag strip. Jake Drew leading the charge down the drag strip, which is where thought the teams were supposed to do their service, so I don't know why Todd would have went down the other pit road, but I believe many of the teams going to take the opportunity as we work this caution flag to make their add fuel and make their adjustments. Some battle scars on the 33 of PJ Pedroncelli. Some damage to the nose there. The crew gonna patch that up and get PJ back out into the action. Jack Wood receiving service in the 21 car. There's Austin Herzog in the number 16. There's the damage to the 68 car. Rod Nealon getting the tow back to the garage area. Sebastian Arias and the 4 car returning back to the garage area. A lot more damage on that 4 car than I believe there was on the 68, at least cosmetically. The car looking to picked up the worst end of that situation over there. I don't know where that damage on the 33 car came from, because that certainly wasn't with the spin. It was more side-to-side contact when he and Sebastian got together down here in turn 11. Teams all exiting the drag strip, making their way straight down into the turn 7 area. They will get realigned. We'll get the field realigned and get back into position. Cars that stayed out will be towards the front of the field. The cars that did come down pit road will rejoin the tail of the field in the positions they were before they pitted. You cannot lose positions down on pit road, so we'll get them lined back up into the positions that they need to be in. Lights remain on the pace car as Chuck Welch leads the field down through the S's. Austin Herzog making another stop in that 16 car. We talked about the damage he had on the right front corner of that car, so he's going to come down and get another look at that. continuing to kind of try to work its way around the racetrack and get tagged onto the tail end of the field here. Good run by Dale Quarterly in that 32 car. Dale, talked to him at Daytona earlier in the season. He was really excited at what he had going on here in 2022. He said he was going to come and run Daytona with the ARCA Menards series, and then he was going to run all of the road course races throughout the ARCA platform in 2022. He's had Portland and Sonoma on the west schedule. He's going to run Mid-Ohio and Watkins Glen with the ARCA Menards Series National Tour. And looking like he's going to have a pretty good run at it here today, as he's kept that 32 car well up into the top 5 throughout the opening stint here in the General Tire 200. Opposite ends of the experience spectrum here, though, at the front of the field. Landon Lewis, just a handful of starts in these big full-bodied stock cars. Dale Quarterly's with a few decades worth of experience in this type of race car. So we'll see how it plays out between the youth and enthusiasm versus old age and treachery throughout the rest of the day here. But Landon Lewis doing a really nice job driving for Bruce Cook and Steve McGowan. Of course, picked up a win for that organization at Kern County Raceway Park back in the month of April. Our Bonnie Rookie Spotlight driver here today. Landon doing an excellent job. Of course, his protege, Ron Hornaday Jr., member of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Hornaday also a former winner here in the Camping World Truck Series at Sonoma Raceway. Of course, they raced here back from 1995 back through 1998. They've got all 4 of those drivers who have won those races as the Grand Marshal for the Truck Series race coming up later on this afternoon. So a lot of people looking forward to seeing Hornaday give the command to get those Truck Series engines fired later on this afternoon. Field streaming through the S's. Lights still on the pace car, so we got at least one more lap around as we continue to try to get everybody back in their appropriate restart position. Landon Lewis, a lot of success in just about everything he's done, even though he's just 16 years of age. He's got dozens of wins in Legends cars on just about every type of racetrack you can think to race on. He's won races on paved surfaces, he's won on the dirt, he's won on road courses. He's looking to cap off that trifecta here in the ARCA Menards Series platform. He's already won on dirt, won at DuQuoin on the dirt. Won on a paved short track, Kern County, earlier this season. Now looking to win on a road course. He's got a pretty good shot at it here today. Only type of racetrack he ineligible to compete on at this point are the super speedways. The tracks 1 mile in length or longer have to be 18 years of age to compete on the big tracks. But I have a feeling once he hits that 18-year-old mark, he's going to be pretty competitive right from the get-go on the big tracks. Landon Lewis, definitely loaded with talent, as Rick Mast used to say. Turns 3 and 3A right here. Working down to turn 4A past the speed shot. We will see some spectacular views from this camera throughout the rest of the day, particularly late in the race. and every position is up for grabs. We'll see some teams doing some pushing and shoving over there at this end of the racetrack as the lights go out on the pace car. Running order has been set. We'll let them line up double file. Landon Lewis scored as the leader. Dale Quarterly will line up alongside on the front row. Andrew Tuttle stayed out. Remember, he had some problems earlier in the race. Lost a lap. Got the lap back. He will line up third on this restart alongside Todd Souza in the 13. You see some damage on that 39 car, and not taking anything away from Andrew, but that car not quite up to the same pace as many of the cars around him on this restart. So keep an eye on the 39 car and keep an eye on those cars behind him. They may not have the patience on this restart. We could see some action going up the hill here as we come back to green. Cole Moore and Jake Drew back in row 3. Keep an eye on those cars as they try to work their way around. 39 of Andrew Tuttle coming back to green. Landon Lewis, the control cars. We work our way off of turn 12 down to the start-finish line. Jimmy Walker with the green flag. Keeping an eye on these cars coming back to green. Oh, we've got problems. Tanner Reif getting turned sideways. Ooh, some hard contact there with Takuma Koga as the field worked its way up the hill. A tough break for two drivers we expected to be contenders for top 5 finishes here today. Tanner Reif getting turned sideways. Takuma Koga nowhere to go. And that will put us under the caution flag for the 4th time here today. Oh, tough break for both Tanner Reif and Takuma Koga. Good to see the window net down on both of those cars. I knew we were going to see some action as the field kind of got stacked up going up the hill. Good to see Takuma climbing out of that automobile. Takuma, always one of the drivers we expect to see run very well on the road courses. There's some damage to Joey East's car. Takuma had a great race last weekend up at Portland, finished in the top 5. Thought he was going to have another shot, and there's the damage. Ooh, a lot of damage to the 7 car. Tanner Reif out of the car as well. Good to see both of those drivers out and about. Pretty heavy side-to-side impact right there. The damage on the 7 car. Big time damage on that car as they're going to hop in the back of the safety truck. Make their way down to the infield care center. Let's take a look at what happened here coming up the hill. And it looks like contact between Tanner Reif and Joey East right there. Looks like Joey may have just gotten in the back of Tanner Reif coming through the corner, and Takuma Koga with nowhere to go, slamming into the door there. Good thing that was the passenger side of that number 9 car, but pretty heavy contact there between Takuma Koga, Tanner Reif, and that puts us under the caution for the 4th time here today. Looks like Eric Nascimento may have been a victim of that action up there at the top of the hill as well. See, the nose has been knocked loose, flat left front tire. Several cars swept up in this incident as they made their way through the top of the hill over there in turns 3 and 3A. Good to see both of those drivers climb out quickly under their own power. But it will be an early end of the day for both Tanner Reif and Takuma Koga. And there's a look at the damage to the right side of the number 7 car. Jerry Pitts, the team owner there on that number 7 automobile, longtime crew chief and team owner here out on the West Coast. Not the way he wanted to end the day here today. There's the corresponding damage. Door panel there from Takuma Koga's car wedged up into the door of the number 9 car. Now we see Landon Lewis, Dale Quarterly, and Todd Souza one more time making their way down pit road. Looks like they stayed out under the last caution flag, so they have elected to come down pit road this time. Dean Thompson also down on pit road in the number 40 car. As we mentioned in the race analysis earlier today, no scheduled tire changes here at Sonoma today. So these teams welcome to come down pit road, add some fuel, make some adjustments, do whatever, make whatever repairs you need to make. But the only tire changes today will be emergency tire changes only. Have to have some damage to the tire, has to be flat spotted. Other than that, the tires on the car at the start, going to be the tires on the car at the finish. Why we don't see these teams swapping out tires on these pit stops. Lights still on the pace car, so we'll make at least another lap under the caution flag here as we approach the midway point in the General Tire 200. Talk about a polar opposite weather day today versus last week. Last week up at Portland, it just seemed like there was nothing we were going to get to do. No bargain we were going to get to make with Mother Nature to get her to stop throwing some rain at us. And today is an absolutely gorgeous day. A little warm here out in Sonoma. Of course, temperatures expected to maybe reach that 95-degree mark, but definitely a lot warmer, about 30 degrees warmer than it was last week. Interesting to see how that heat impacts the drivers inside the cockpit. Temperatures often up into the 130 to 140 degree mark inside these cars on these 90-degree days. So it'll be very interesting to find out how these drivers are handling it inside the cockpit as we come to complete another lap here at Sonoma. Looks like Todd Souza making another trip down the drag strip. He will come down to Michael Munoz in the team. As we have reached the midway point here at Sonoma Raceway, halfway home here in the General Tire 200. While we are under caution, why don't we take a look at that Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap. Started with Jake Drew up on the pole, picked up the General Tire pole in qualifying, led the first 18 laps. Before Todd Souza got him on a restart, and then Souza overcooked it down into turn 7, and Jake Drew retook the lead. Then he gave it up on a sequence of caution flag pit stops, but then retook the lead one more time when Landon Lewis made his way down pit road. And that's where we sit now. 5 lead changes among those 3 drivers. Had 4 caution flags to this point. First one came when Nick Janitis stopped at the entrance to pit road. Second one coming at lap 16 when Vince Little slid off the racetrack down through the S's. Lap 23, Rod Nealand and Sebastian Arias came together. Hard crash right here. This section of the racetrack turns 8 and 8A. And the most recent caution coming at lap 30 when Tanner Reif and Takuma Koga got together going through turn 3 on the most recent restart. And that's where we sit now, midway home here in the General Tire 200. Jake Drew in that number 6 car for Bob Brancati. It was a tough restart there, lost his teammate. Tanner Reif getting taken out in that incident over there with Takuma Koga, but Jake Drew still giving the Bracatis and Sunrise Racing another shot at victory here today. And if he's able to pull it off, it'd be their not only their 3rd win of the season, but his 2nd consecutive. Jake Drew with a pretty good season going to this point. Only driver here in the West Series to finish in the top 5 in the 4 previous races so far here in 2022. And he's got a good shot at making it 5 for 5 here today, but still a long way to go, just past halfway as we've got the lights off on the pace car. Field now lining up double file, and look who is outside that front row coming to the restart. Cole Moore in the 99. What an impressive run by Cole Moore after starting 16th all the way out back. Cole doing a great job working his way up through the field. He will start alongside that first row. Jack Wood, Joey East in that 2nd row. Field kind of jumbled up. Some of this action scramble in the field as Chuck Welch wisely taking that Toyota Super Pace car down pit road. As we come back to the green flag, we'll have 30 laps to go here at Sonoma Raceway. What will happen on this restart? Will Cole Moore have anything for Jake Drew? We'll see what happens as we come through turn 12. Jimmy Walker with the green flag back in the air. Let's see what happens as we go back up the hill. Jake Drew with the advantage. He's going to have the inside line through turn 2. He's going to take over the top spot down into turns 3 and 3A. See if everybody can work their way into single file. There we see some side-by-side action down into turn 4. Colmore trying to close in on Jake Drew through turn 7. That battle for the lead going to file down into single file. Drew going to hold on to the top spot. Todd Souza going around over there in turn 7. Oh, tough break for Todd in that number 13 car. Doesn't look like he's got any damage, so he will tag onto the tail end of the field. He's going to have a long way to go to work his way back up into the top 10 and even into the top 5, but he had a great run going. Let's see if we can see what happened. Down into turn 4, he's going to swing way out to the outside. Let's see what happens down here into turn 7. Just going to drive it in a little deep, almost getting into Tim Spurgeon there and doing a great job keeping it off of Dale Quarterly. But an aggressive move by Todd Souza. Going to send him around and drop him to the tail end of the field. Tough break for Todd. Here just past the halfway point. He's going to need some caution flags to get himself back in contention here as we see the battle now towards the tail end of the top 5. Landon Lewis trying to work his way. This is just outside the top 5. Landon Lewis trying to work his way back through the field. Going to dive to the inside of Austin Herzog down into turn 4A. Austin swinging it way wide as they come down the chute down into turn 7. Laying it down to the inside. Can't make it stick. Austin's going to have that preferred groove down into the S's. Well, Landon not wanting to give it up. He's digging to the outside. He's going to take the spot. Wow, just when I thought Austin Herzog was going to hold on to that move. Austin Herzog going to give up that spot to Landon Lewis. Landon with a power move to the outside. That, folks, could be one of our Reese's Sweet Move of the Race candidates as the caution flag going to come out one more time for the 5th time here this afternoon. And there you see why. Tim Spurgeon in the 86 car. Awesome. Tim with a lot of damage to the right side of that car. Looks like that happened over in the turn 10 area. A lot of action in that turn 10, 11, 12 sequence. Tag on to the tail end of the field. I believe he's going to have to come on down pit road, have the damage assessed on that right rear corner. More damage than I think he may have expected back there after making contact with the tire barrier. So Jake Drew will hold on to the top spot. Cole Moore still holding on to that second position. Cole has picked up 14 positions from the start of the race. An impressive run so far for that young man. Continuing to look for his first ever West Series victory. Hard to believe his best finish, I believe a 4th last year. Let's see what happened here as we get a look at this. Ooh, Tim Spurgeon already sideways when he came into camera frame, but it was a little strange there because it looked like he actually turned counter course there as he slid off the racetrack and into the tire barriers. So look at what happened to Tim Spurgeon to put us under the caution flag for the 5th time today. good look at turns 1 and 2 here at Sonoma Raceway. You can see really difficult to see just how much that incline is from start finish to the top of turn 2 there. Is Andrew Tuttle showing some battle scars today. It's been a long day for the driver of the 39 car. The driver's side door flapping in the breeze there. Dive back downhill and then back uphill to turns 3 and 3A, and then down into turn 4A, and then again downhill through the S's on the backside of the racetrack. A lot of elevation changes here. No surprise that you would have some elevation changes here in the rolling hills of Northern California. Lights out on the pace car, so we'll try it one more time. Line them up double file. Take a look at the running order. Again, Jake Drew, Cole Moore up on the front row. Jack Wood in the 21 car, one of our Camping World Truck Series interlopers, will start alongside the other Truck Series interloper. Colby Howard will start alongside. Back in row 3, or excuse me, back in row 2. Landon Lewis and Joey East back in row 3. This was the break that Todd Souza was looking for. He's going to start just outside the top 10. This was exactly what he needed after that spin on the last restart. Slowly through the hairpin. Now down through turn 12, Jimmy Walker with the green flag back in the air. Let's see what happens as we go back up the hill. Jake Drew cleanly through turn 1. Now let's see what happens here through turn 2. Field always fighting to get down into single file here. We see a little paint being swapped. Bridget Burgess, Austin Herzog knocking fenders. Dale Quarterly picking up a couple of positions on this restart through turns 3 and 3A. Now down into turn 4A. He zipped past the speed shot one more time. Trying to work down into single file through turn 7. EJ Pedroncelli going to work his way past Bridget Burgess. Dean Thompson trying to work his way back through the field. Always fun to watch these drivers sling these cars over the curbs through the S's as they work their way down the backside of the track into turn 10. Landon Lewis looking to the inside of Colby Howard down into the hairpin. Move Landon Lewis back up to 3rd. 39 laps in the books, now working lap 40, 24 to go here at Sonoma. Still a long way to go. Here comes Dale Quarterly trying to put some pressure on Joey East. Joey's had a tough start to the 2022 season. Best finish 10th. He had a miserable day up in the rain at Portland last weekend. A couple of off-track excursions, including nosing into the tire barriers. He's going to look to the inside of Austin Herzog, locking up that right front brake. Don't want to do that too much, Joey. Don't want to flat spot those tires. There's the two cars at the front of the field. Jake Drew, Cole Moore, the rest of the field filing in behind. Austin Herzog leading Joey East and Dale Quarterly. Herzog slinging that car through turn 10. Don't want to dip those left side tires off the track right there. Dale Quarterly now looking to the inside. Great job of outbraking Joey East down into the hairpin. Move Dale Quarterly up 1. Points contenders going at it right there. Todd Souza trying to make up some ground on PJ Pedroncelli. Both of those drivers having some off-track excursions today. Here comes Souza. He's going to look to the inside of Pedroncelli down into turn 4A. Give the spot to Todd Souza. Using all the racetrack down there. At the far end of the racetrack. Here comes Eric Nascimento trying to follow him through. Nascimento in the 04 car. We saw him involved in that incident with Takuma Koga and Tanner Reif. Still on the lead lap. Eric Nascimento still could pull off a pretty good finish here today. He's got a good fast race car. Now sitting in the 11th position. There's the top two one more time. Cole Moore stalking Jake Drew. Second season in that number 99 car for Bill McAnally Racing. Sitting in the second position. Following the tire tracks. Getting a lot of good road course experience. Again, Jake Drew got a lot of road course experience, and Cole Moore going to school on him right now. All the ins and outs here at Sonoma Raceway. Cole thrashing that machine over the curbs. Trying to keep Jake in his sights as they work their way through turn 9, now into turn 10. Cole using up every inch of that asphalt right there. Again, you don't want to slip those left side tires off into that gravel too much as he gets right in on the back bumper of Jake Drew there through that hairpin corner, turn 11. Wow, just inches off that back bumper. Cole Moore being very aggressive here. Up into turn 2. Again, just inches off that back bumper of Jake Drew as they work their way down into turns 3 and 3A. Jake's now got a 2-car length advantage, a little breathing room as they work their way down into the chute and into turn 7. Ooh, Cole Moore looking to the outside. That isn't just an optimistic move right there. I didn't know that he was going to be able to make it stick, but Cole Moore very aggressive here, trying to work his way past Jake Drew to take the lead. I certainly didn't expect him to try to make that move to the outside right there through turn 7, one of the tightest corners on the racetrack. Cole Moore right now with a very fast race car, aggressively trying to work his way past. He's going to look to the outside down into turn 11. Can he make it stick? Had the lead momentarily, but he's going to give it back up, and if he's not careful, he's going to give up that second spot to Landon Lewis. Some great racing here at Sonoma Raceway. Cole Moore aggressively trying to work his way past Jake Drew to take the lead. He's going to have to probably cool his tires here for a lap or two. He's really cooked it in deep into the hairpin that time. Now he's facing some pressure from Landon Lewis back in third. These two cars, these 3 cars, all running nose to tail, knocking fenders now out of turn 7. Landon Lewis trying to work his way past Cole Moore to take over that second position. More contact, it looks like, as they work their way through turns 8 and 8A. Here comes Landon Lewis with a run. Through turn 9 and 10, Cole gonna slam the door shut through turn 10. Let's see what happens here down into the hairpin. giving up some ground to Jake Drew. Landon Lewis going to move Cole Moore up the racetrack. Great race for the second position. Lewis now to the outside, down in turns 1. Now up the hill into turn 2. Moore going to hold on to that position. He's thrashing that race car. He's almost off the racetrack. He is off the racetrack. That's going to give Landon Lewis that second position. Great battle for that second spot. Now let's see what Landon Lewis can do. They've given up about a second and a half now to Jake Drew up at the front of the field. Cole Moore trying to knock another top 5 finish onto his resume here as his best finish so far this season, second coming at Irwindale back in March. There's a battle between Austin Herzog and Joey East. This battle just outside the top 5. Austin Herzog sitting in the 7th position currently. Joey East back in 8th. Damage on the 54 car. Of course, Joey East involved in that skirmish right there through the turns 3 and 3A section of the racetrack. He was integral in that incident with Tanner Reif and Takuma Koga, narrowly coming out of that one unscathed. Here's the advantage at the front of the field. Jake Drew over second place Landon Lewis. Landon can see him. Does he have the car to reel him in here as we start to close in on the finish here at Sonoma Raceway, the General Tire 200. Round 5 of the 2022 season for the ARCA Menards Series West. Here's your top 4 cars working their way through turn 11. Jake Drew on the hammer down into turn 12, followed by Landon Lewis. Cole Moore back in 3rd. Colby Howard rounding out the top 4. Andrew Tuttle in the 39 car. He's going to give the leaders plenty of room as they work their way through turn 2. Now down into turn 3 and 3A. See some battle scars on the left side of that 17 car. Landon Lewis knocking some fenders today as we got the caution flag out one more time. 6th caution of the afternoon as we work lap 47. And there you see the cause of this caution flag, a little debris laying out on the racetrack. That'll bunch us up one more time, hopefully for the final time today. Sonoma Raceway Fire and Safety crew out on the racetrack to pick up that, looks like a piece of aluminum up off the racetrack. Definitely do not want to be running that over out on course. Looks like that's over in between turns 3 and 3A. Picture perfect day here in Northern California. Appreciate you joining us here for the General Tire 200. Great way to kick off a triple header weekend. A lot of fans in the stands already taking in the opening act of a triple header weekend. I think we got a little corn dog action going there. That sounds good to me about now. Nothing better than track food. I will tell you what, you take me to a racetrack and I will find something good to eat. Corn dog does sound pretty good at this point. So we're going to let Andrew Tuttle zip past the pace car. He's going to pick up the free pass one more time. Join the tail end of the lead lap. So we get him back into position. We'll get the one to go and go back green flag racing. Hopefully take us to the finish. That is a great camera angle down there in the hairpin, turn 11. Chuck Welch leading the field down through that hairpin corner. Drivers get down to about 35 miles an hour down through this section of the racetrack. And you know, you probably think, well, I could do that. Well, I probably could, but it's the rest of it that makes it a challenge. The 160 miles an hour to 35 miles an hour, that makes it a challenge out here. And we've seen that become a challenge for even some of the best drivers in stock car racing over the years. That is one of the most difficult corners in NASCAR and in the ARCA Menards Series West racing right there, the hairpin here at Sonoma Raceway. I still remember way back when I was a much younger man, that battle between Davey Allison and Ricky Rudd. I believe back in 1991, Ricky knocking Davey out of the way, coming to the white flag. Davey getting it fired back up, and of course coming around the next time by, Ricky, instead of seeing the checkered flag, saw the black flag, and Davey Allison picking up the win. It's probably the first time I remember that hairpin corner really affecting the outcome of a race like that. We've only seen it more and more over the years. We saw Tony Stewart end up in the tire barriers there the one year after he and Brian Vickers got into it. What kind of action will we see down there today as we wind down to the finish here in the General Tire 200? Who's to say? We've had a lot of contact already, and we have got a lot of hungry race drivers up at the front of the field here today. Jake Drew looking for his second win of the season. Landon Lewis looking for his second win, his first on a road course. Hey folks, appreciate you joining us out here at Sonoma Raceway. Someone was looking at the screen. Yeah, someone was looking at the screens here at the racetrack and waving back to us. Cole Moore, of course, we've already seen how hungry he is. He has made a couple of really optimistic moves, trying to work his way around the outside of Jake Drew to try to take that lead. Cole looking for his first ever ARCA Menards West win. Will he find a way to get up to the front? Was Colby Howard looking for victory? He's got an ulterior motive here today. He's here just to get a little recon for that Camping World Truck Series race coming up this afternoon. But boy, wouldn't it be nice to walk away with the victory trophy here as well. He has got himself in a pretty good position, sitting in 4th. Jack Wood, he's in the same boat. Both of those drivers looking a lot sportier now, some 50 laps into this one, than they did at the start. Obviously, getting that experience, 50 laps worth of experience, very, very important to both of those young drivers. How about Dale Quarterly? He has hung around the front of the field all day long. Currently scored back in the 6th position. Dale's in really good position to make a run up into the top 5 here as we wind down towards the end of it. There's the damage to Landon Lewis's number 17 car. He has not been shy when it comes to knocking fenders here at Sonoma Raceway today. Landon Lewis been pretty physical, working his way back into position multiple times. He's dropped back out of the top 5 a couple of times today, and he's worked his way back up towards the front both times. And now he is going to line up alongside Jake Drew on this restart. Could it be the final restart of the day? Fingers crossed. Knocking on wood. Let's hope so. Let's see if we can race this one off to the finish. Cole Moore and Colby Howard alongside one another back in row 2. Jack Wood and Dale Quarterly back in row 3. Joey East alongside Austin Herzog. Todd Souza back up into the top 10. He's alongside Eric Nascimento as we work our way off the hairpin down into turn 12. We'll get the green flag and hopefully race this one off to the finish. Jimmy Walker with the green flag back in the air. Let's see what happens as we go back up the hill. Landon Lewis facing some heat. Here comes Colby Howard to the inside. Now down into turns 3 and 3A. Lewis going to hold on to second. Let's see what happens behind. Some contact there. Joey East working his way up through the field. He's going to move past Jack Wood, but here comes Jack back to the inside. They're going to bang off of each other going down into turn 4A, but here comes Landon Lewis. He's going to try to look to the outside. Can't make it stick. Colby Howard tried to fill the gap. He couldn't make it stick. We're going to file it single file down the hill through the S's. Ooh, couple of cars sliding off the racetrack there. Dale Quarterly going to give up a lot of ground there, but good thing he was able to keep it straight. But we've got contact down into turn 11. Around goes Landon Lewis. Around goes Cole Moore. Ooh, this is going to shake everything up at the front of the field. And no, we're going to stack them up. Cole Moore going to get drilled by, looks like Dean Thompson in the 40. Ryan Philpott involved. PJ Pedroncelli involved. And that's going to put us under the caution flag for the 7th time today. Ooh, big time action down in the hairpin. I told you that was going to be where we saw it all happen, and that's where it did happen. We tried to go 3 wide, and this is the result. Let's take a look at all that action. There you see the 32 car way off the racetrack. He did a great job of saving it, but now here we're going to go 3 wide down into the tightest corner on the racetrack. Colby Howard into Landon Lewis. Lewis into Cole Moore. The 17 and the 99 go around. Now here comes Cole Moore. He's going to gas it to try to get going, and boom, right there. Dean Thompson, Ryan Philpott, and PJ Pedroncelli nowhere to go. The accordion effect, or is that the domino effect? Could be both. Either case, those three cars coming to a stop, and a lot of damage on all three of those cars. Dean Thompson climbing out. He's going to be done for the day. Oh, just an unfortunate set of circumstances for everybody down there going into turn 11. And there's a look through the fisheye down in the hairpin. And you know, when you get to this point of the race, every position matters, every inch of racetrack matters. And you knew coming down going 3 wide, no one was going to give an inch. And this is the result. And that is a tough way to end the day for PJ Pedroncelli, one of our points contenders. There's PJ in the white driver's uniform, walking with the safety crew. Hometown guy from right here in Sonoma, California. Pedroncelli's run a mobile bottling service, serving the wine industry here in Northern California. So at least they won't have to go far after they load that car up, but not the way PJ wanted to end the day here. Of course, he picked up his first career series victory last year. Up at All-American Speedway, a tight little bull ring up there in Roseville, California. It's one of the drivers in the mix for the ARCA Menards West Championship last season as well. Was looking to capitalize on it today. It all comes to an end down there in turn 11. PJ currently sitting 5th in the series standings. 26 points out of the lead, and this certainly will not help him stay in touch with Jake Drew up at the front of the field. Right now, all of the ARCA Menards West point contenders, with the exception of Jake Drew, having a tough day. Tanner Reif, currently 2nd in the points, already out. Cole Moore, 3rd in the standings. We saw him involved in this incident. Todd Souza, we've seen him having an up and down day. Of course, PJ Pedroncelli, his car about to go on the hook. So it has been a tough day for 4 of the top 5 in the ARCA Menards West Championship standings, with still 10 circuits to go here at Sonoma. What a mess down here in the hairpin. And there's the safety crew with the speedy drive down there right on the inside. So that's going to be tough, folks, because that's right in the racing line through that part of the corner. And it is already a very hot and slick day here at Sonoma Raceway, and this is just going to magnify that through this section of the racetrack. There's the damage on the 52 car, Ryan Philpott. Oh, a tough way to end his day. Ryan making his 36th career appearance here in the ARCA Menards West Series. Best finish coming back in 2011, 7th down at Irwindale Speedway. Good to see him back with us here. Of his infrequent appearances. Not the way he wanted to end it in that number 52 car here this afternoon. So let's take a look at how they run after the field kind of got scrambled there on that incident over there in turn 11. Of course, Jake Drew, he's been pretty unflappable today. Even when he has had to work his way up through the field, he has done it without too much issue. He's still on top of the leaderboard. Colby Howard sitting back in the second spot. You saw Colby, he was kind of the instigator of that action down there in turn 11. He made the bold move down to stick it 3 wide down on the inside, but he does indeed hold on to that second position. Dale Quarterly holding on to third. Jack Wood and Joey East rounding out the top 5 as we work our way up the hill as we continue to follow Chuck Welch in the pace car. Austin Herzog holding on to the 6th position in front of Eric Nascimento. Todd Souza up to 8th. How about Tim Spurgeon? We saw him off track. He's 9th. And Bridget Burgess rounding out the top 10. Hey, folks, appreciate you being here with us at the racetrack. Appreciate y'all watching with us live on Flow Racing back at home as well. I think the best part of that shot we just saw were those folks found some shade here at Sonoma Raceway. It's a scorcher here, folks. Temperature's already approaching 90 degrees, and you know it's even hotter than that in the cockpit here. So I'm thinking these drivers looking to get these final 10 laps knocked out of the way here as quickly as they can. Still 14 cars on the lead lap. Cole Moore dropping back to 12th. Landon Lewis back to 14th. As we'll have at least another lap behind the pace car here as the lights stay on. A shout out to Andrew Tuttle in that 39 car. We've seen him on screen several times today. That car is bruised and battered, and he's picked up a couple of free passes to rejoin the lead lap. But right now, Andrew Tuttle holding on to that 13th position. Nice job by Andrew in that 39 team. Never give up attitude. That's what it's all about right there, folks. Andrew looking to better his career best finish. Finished 12th last weekend up at Portland. Gonna need to find another position or two here on the racetrack. So we're gonna take a little shortcut here as we continue to work down in turns in turn 11. Good thing we've got a little cut through right there to bypass the hairpin corner here as the safety crew working on that area where those cars drop some fluid. working lap 55 here. That'll give us 9 laps to go. And hopefully we will get the one to go signal this time through turn 7, 8, and 9. It looks like the light's going to stay on one more lap. So safety crew still working down in the hairpin, so we'll keep the lights on the pace car for at least another lap. We are indeed working lap 55, now within 10 laps to go of the finish here at Sonoma. Here's a good look at Dale Quarterly in the 32, Jack Wood in the 21, Joey East in the 54. Joey's had an up and down day today. He's hoping he ends it on an up. You know, we always talk about the up and down day. Well, I think Joey East is looking for an up, down, up day. And he hasn't had too many of them here in 2022, as we're going to shortcut one more time as the safety team still working on that speedy dry over here in turn 11. Scrambling up here towards the front of the field. Don't know what is going on here. And it looks like, I believe, we may have reached the end of this one, folks. I believe that time around, Jake Drew took the checkered flag. He's got the window net down and he is celebrating. I believe Jake Drew is our winner here in the General Tire 200. Time constraints bringing us to an early conclusion here at Sonoma. Jake Drew picking up his second win of 2022. How about it, folks? Jake Drew picking up his second win of 2022. Celebrating with his second straight victory here in the ARCA Menards Series West. Colby Howard will come home in second. I know Colby was itching to get back to that restart, but unfortunately, with the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race coming up, time constraints bringing us to an early end here at Sonoma, and Jake Drew picking up his second straight series victory. Dale Quarterly, Jack Wood, and Joey East rounding out your top 5. One kind of took me by surprise right there, folks. Was hoping we were going to get back to green flag racing conditions, but unfortunately, the clock ran out on us. But that's exactly what Jake Drew was looking for, as he is going to carry that checkered flag for the second consecutive week and extend that points lead here in the ARCA Menards Series West. Jake Drew celebrating as the winner of the General Tire 200. So an action-packed day here at Sonoma Raceway, ending with Jake Drew celebrating down in victory lane, scoring his second straight series win, second win of his career. What a season for the Sunrise Racing team. Tanner Reif picking up a win at Irwindale earlier in the season, and now Jake Drew picking up back-to-back wins at Portland and here today at Sonoma Raceway. And that indeed will extend his lead in the championship standings heading into the next race coming up. I believe July 2nd, back at Irwindale Speedway, and you can watch that one live again right here on Flow Racing. Well, that's going to do it for us here, folks, at the General Tire 200. Jake Drew celebrating down in victory lane. His second win in a row, second win of the season, second win of his career in an action-packed day here at Sonoma Raceway. They're having a hard time with that car topper down there in victory lane as well. We appreciate you joining us here live on Flow Racing. We look forward to seeing you next time live from Irwindale Speedway. That one coming up on July 2nd. For everybody here at NASCAR Productions, we look forward to seeing you then. Until next time, so long, everybody.